Bryon, how are you? Welcome. It's good to have you on.
Doing great. How are you doing, Keaton?
Good to be here. So today we have Bryon from Dentma, big pioneering company in the orthodontic space, working with AI, working with CRMs, all sorts of fancy marketing automations that make your life easier with one of their signature products, Ava, which we'll talk a little bit about today, as well as some other programs that they're coming out with, some with limited availability that you might like to get on. Hopefully we're going to get a few people from this interview who are interested in these programs, especially this limited space one. So Bryon, thanks so much. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Dentma, and then let's go into the meat of what you want to share today.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for the brief introduction. To
Yeah.
me, I'm no one of consequence. I've been kind of an entrepreneur for 30 some odd years. I'm also academic. My doctoral work is in marketing. One might say I'm the marketing side to Ava. Ava is our product. The company is called Dentma.com. And Ava, I like how you said, a powerful CRM. Those out in the orthodontic world that understand the CRM, we might say that Ava is a CRM on steroids, using AI technology and whatnot. We're the oldest standing patient follow-up in the orthodontic space. We are only in the orthodontic space with our Ava product. And so we started and cut a rug 8 years ago in patient follow-up. And then from there, we've just grown. Now, our growth on the marketing side is rather organic. We find that when an orthodontist that uses Ava, they are in their social networks and they talk. And when Ava can make them money, in fact, there's two things that Ava does. One, it saves the treatment coordinator and their team a lot of time. On one of the functions of Ava, like patient follow-up, that one function will save over a traditional orthodontic follow-up model, will save a treatment coordinator over 2.5 hours a day of time. That alone is significant and worth the price for Ava.
Amazing.
The second thing that Ava does is, I'm going to put it in my vernacular, is Ava makes the practice a boatload of money. Period. In fact, we keep the data for 7 years. We keep the data, and when Ava 3.0 came out, which is about 2.5, 3 years ago, that data in our current product would suggest real data that in the first 90 days of an orthodontic practice hiring Ava, a solo practice, one office, okay, one location, no satellite office, no second, third offices, that office will see over a $20,000 in new starts in the first 90 days of hiring Ava.
Awesome.
So we have no contracts. You can fire Ava at any time. And really that's kind of a marketing gimmick, because if an orthodontist sees the treatment coordinator loving life, their team absolutely loving Ava, and the difference that's happening within their deposits and new starts, why would you ever fire the product that's at the heart of doing that? So that's what we do. We save time for the team. We make money for the owners of the practice.
Love it.
Excellent. So what I could do, there are three things that I wanted to kind of frame with you, Keaton. I'm taking a screen over here while I'm talking, just kind of optimizing it for if we do go into kind of a show and tell. The first thing is I wouldn't mind just showing you a very, very rudimentary view into Ava. And then just so you can kind of see the interface and see what these treatment coordinators, financial coordinators, scheduling coordinators, front office guys, gals, the office team, what they get when they hire Ava. The second thing I'd like to do in framing our discussion is to show you two programs. One that came out last week by our new CEO. His name is Travis Frederickson. Remarkable man, very, very deep into consulting in the orthodontic space for over a decade. He's our CEO, and he came up with an idea that is a do it for DFY, done for you idea with Ava, which means that you can hire Ava and you don't need to worry about training or anything else. Now, while Ava's interface that you're going to see here in a minute is rather intuitive, we know that we continue to develop. So when you develop a new feature set of Ava, that does require a little bit of a learning curve. And when you look at the typical traditional office staff, generally speaking, female, and generally speaking, ages 20 to 50. Sometimes technology is not the optimal thing to throw at them. And while again the interface is easy, the training aspect can at times be daunting unless they understand that we train for free. We give as much training as you need. Zoom sessions are phenomenal. Ava's interface has training modules on it. But that aside, we have just launched a done for you. You can hire Ava, no training needed. We just have, in a simple interview, identify what it is that you'd like to have Ava do. Definitely patient follow-up on your recalls, your new leads you're pending. And then virtual consultations. Our virtual consultation engine is absolutely phenomenal. In fact, 3 months ago, an orthodontist broke the all-time record in virtual consults and did over 500 of them in a 30-day period of time.
Wow.
After the 30 days, we identified, so how much absolute cash came in on prepaid braces just on those 500. And he said, well, over $200,000 have come in the first 30 days, and it's still ongoing. So we have we're doing a little podcast on how did that orthodontist utilize the engine of Ava for virtual consults to gain so much of the market that he serves. Kind of fun. And so, the done for you, you identify what aspects of Ava do you want to have implemented. We do it, all HIPAA compliant, and we engage it. And so it's under a 90-day money back guarantee. It's also another gimmick, because in those first 90 days, that office will see, by doing nothing, just engaging the interface and having us actually manage our own platform, we're out to make them money. Now, that's only 10 offices. It's kind of like the first come, first serve. And we just barely started pushing that out. In fact, I wanted to kind of introduce that to you and your team, as impressed as I have been over the last week and a half of getting to know you, and kind of give like an exclusive, if you will. If you have 10 offices whose lives you want to bless, then that would be fantastic. The third thing on the agenda would be another program. We have an academic team, tenured faculty professors that know me. I met them at a conference. I still teach academically, and I've written some papers. In experiential learning. They know me. They said, what do you do? I showed them our interface, and they said, holy cow, how about you let us into Ava, and we will take and validate what they refer to as a predictable model of profitability. What's called a PMOP, predictable model of profitability. I think they coined that phrase. But they posit, an academic term that they believe, and we know that it'll work, that they can actually go into a private database with Ava. They use Ava to go into the practice management system of the orthodontic practice, and they identify data that exists within their practice, and they identify if they can use marketing principles to do patient follow-up and whatnot. They can predict how much money they can bring in new starts to that practice. So they are wanting to validate their algorithms of how that works, and they want 100 offices to generate some statistically significant sample across 5 different elements of going into the database and finding the data, and then implementing these sequences to calibrate the predictive model. And their entire intent is to use Ava to build an academic simulation game, much like Harvard simulation games. In fact, they're tracking to actually get Harvard involved in this on some level, but they'll use Ava as that game. Now, one little side note, a little caveat to that. So based on what they wanted to do, I have some connections with some orthodontists that have practices and teach. One of them teaches in New York at one of the orthodontic schools in New York City, and she has a dozen plus offices on the East Coast. I gave her a call and told her a little bit about this, and she said, well, what you ought to do is consider having this in the third year of orthodontic school so that they actually learn the value of patient follow-up, because that's not being taught. Orthodontists aren't taught a lot of the aspects of how to run their business. And I thought, okay, that's a chill down the spine effect. And that is an opportunity that is now just coming out. There's 100 practices. Again, it's on a money back guarantee, a 60-day trial where they go in and audit the data, show you 5 elements that they found in the data. You select one and they run that using AVA. And then in 60 days from that point in time, then you can decide to hire AVA or not. Certainly that's the blessing for us, because if they can work their magic and it works, then these practices that would want to be involved in that academic case study will want to continue with AVA. And that's a beautiful thing for everybody.
Yeah,
time and making money, and for us, more revenue for continuing to develop, to collapse this third-party market even more. All right, so if you'd allow me to share the screen, we'll go to option number 1. Fair enough?
Into it.
Okay, excellent. I will go into AVA. This is the AVA interface. Now, Keaton, can you see AVA's desk up here?
I can.
This changes frequently, and so I don't know. They did an update yesterday. It's a full workable system. This is actually the demo location. We cater to larger practices as well. Our average practice size is just over 4 offices.
Okay.
So the solo office to the bigger office, we have several DSOs that are in it. And to manage that, we have this element down here. So when you hire AVA, your practice and all of your offices will show up here. I'm just going to click on the demo orthodontic location. And of course, there are multiple locations. We call these brands within the DSO world. As an example, if a DSO owns practices in New Jersey and in Connecticut and Pennsylvania, they might use a different brand. And so AVA is very powerful to track those offices from a central location. But I'm going to go back so we can see some data. So this would be one of the brands within our practice set. And you see across the screen. Now you want to follow what's in blue. What is in blue? We're in automation. So when you load AVA, the treatment coordinator and the team will see these 4 boxes. And these 4 boxes represent your patient follow-up. So this is the AVA's follow-up. And across the top are all the skills of AVA. So we have a chat tool that would sit down here in the bottom right of your screen and will allow your website to be able to have chat capabilities. We have the virtual consult engine that I alluded to earlier that is phenomenal. We could review this in detail if your orthodontist wanted to see that. New patient scheduler. The new patient tracker is phenomenal. This will, once they schedule an appointment, it'll send out the welcome. It identifies with their medical history forms, their verifying insurance, and of course your Yelp scores by doing a survey at the end of their first visit. And then a quick case presentation is a slider tool for the CFO, if you will. So you can go into the patient while they're in the chair, or send them a link on their cell phone, and they can look at it and slide the tool on precasted amounts for braces, something that would work in their family budget. Click OK, and it establishes that contract. So across the left side are other skills. This training tab takes you into another portal, if you will. It opens up what we refer to as the AVA's knowledge base. And so 24/7, 365, you have access to all the skills of AVA. Like if you wanted to learn case presentation and it wasn't 9 to 5, where we will absolutely be right there ready on our own internal chat tool to address any questions that you might have, hop on a Zoom session, do additional training. You can go ahead and click on this. This particular one, the case presentation, has 3 articles. They are just fun. If I click on one of them and show you, they're filled with colors and pictures, and they guide you through the process of how to work that tool, how to set that tool up.
Love it.
So that's kind of fun. So AVA cares deeply about your training. In other words, the orthodontist team's training. We have a template library that's become all the buzz. The blast tool. inside the blast tool is one of my favorite. I'm going to click on the blast tool just to show you. We started years ago in doing a legacy blast that would go out to all those patients that are uncommitted in the database and recommit them. This particular tool, we have statistics that show how much money it will bring in the first 90 days of running a legacy blast. Offices will do a blast to all their uncommitted patients about every quarter. No patient falls through the crack, and this goes and finds all those that did fall through the crack. The new blast tool is pretty phenomenal. It's a Boolean logic search engine right into the practice management system. Very, very powerful. You can find any patient, like if they're using Cloud9, this will allow you to go in and find any patient in Cloud9 and send them an email or a text blast. I can show you how that works. It's very easy. It's fun. The office managers love this because they'll actually use it to scrub the data. We get calls, they say, we use the blast tool to create a list, and we found out that we're actually not keying in data as accurately as we should within the Cloud9, and so Ava has also helped us clean up our data. I'm gonna go back to automations just to kind of show you, again, vast skills. I could go into them. I will go into settings real quick. Under settings, this might look like a busy screen. It's the first 5 minutes of onboarding Ava. We go in and make sure that all of your staff members have a username and a login and certain rights. Here I am right here. I have admin privileges. I have rights to certain locations and certain things, and it's very powerful. And with this, we'll go into all of the different setups within the system. But that's Ava, very powerful. That's Ava.
Yeah.
So any questions?
Can you show just the Ava chat, quickly go through the top things on this page?
Yeah, let me go into the chat tool would be very confusing. Let me go into virtual consults. I'll see if I have any data in the virtual consults. I don't on Ava's orthodontist. Let's go into the demo and see if I've got any data in the demo location. Again, this changes regularly, and if I have some data,
there we go.
That's actually not data. I just hit refresh, and it came up with some alerts where we have to make contact to other patients. There's Ava. Oh, here we go. All right. So inside the Ava Orthodontic set, we have, and our team has a lot of fun. So you'll get a patient named testing ready with typos in it. These are patients. So I'm going to go down to a patient. In fact, a long time ago, I'm going to see if my daughter is in there. There's Judith. I actually used our virtual consult engine to have her do a virtual consult in a follow-up as a recall patient. A doctor called during COVID, and he said, "Can we put Ava on hold?" And I said, "No, why would you want to do that?" And he goes, "Well, because there's no contract." And I said, "Well, I know your data." So I went into their interface and I showed him that let me click on this and duplicate my screen just so I can put this story into context, because this would be significant in understanding something important in the follow-up. So again, this is the main screen where we have new leads, no-shows, recalls, and pending. And you'll see under new leads, there's this box that says 7. All that means is that there are 7 patients that are currently in new leads that have a treatment status of a new lead. Ava's AI engine will go in and read your practice management system, and will put patients in here every day. And the treatment coordinator's goal is to get them down into Ava's patients. So Ava will do the follow-up in a very professional way. We have 8 years of using natural language with the objective of doing follow-up with texts and emails and phone call reminders to where to get that patient in the chair. We're very good at that, and it's all done automatically. So so that particular doctor had 292 observation patients. Those are patients whose mouths are developing, those kids who are under the purview of their parent or guardian. He had 292 in blue here that had not been pushed down to recall. So what I did is I created a sequence and said, you need to communicate with these patients. In fact, what are these patients doing? They're home, they're not going to school, they're wearing masks, they're driving their parents crazy or not, they're doing their homework or not, but they're home on social networks. And so you have the title of a doctor. So why don't you be the third party parent to the parent or guardian and communicate with them as their orthodontist to engage them in something fun during COVID. He
Mhm.
said, okay, you got my listening ear. So what I did is I went in and built a sequence. And in that sequence, it invited the kid, that recall patient, to do a virtual consult using our virtual consult engine. So seeing that my daughter is still in here, this is Judith, over a year ago, she
Mhm.
did a virtual consult. This will at least let you see kind of how the virtual consult works. It takes you through a series of pictures that are just fun, selfies that are fun. It does a welcome video for the doctor, that first impression where the doctor will be on a video on the cell phone or the tablet of the patient as they click on that link on their website, where the doctor might say, hey, thanks for clicking on that link. I can't wait to see what you're about to do. You're going to have fun doing it. So by all means, click down here to get started. And there's a button that says, let's get started. They click on it, and it takes them through a series of 6 pictures. Well, in this one, you're not going to see 6 pictures of the teeth, but you're going to see 6 pictures that particular doctor asked the patient to do instead of the teeth, to engage them. You know, the favorite book that they're reading, someone in their family that's smiling, their favorite teacher at school. And the treatment coordinator was on the line when I was telling them, when I built this sequence in 11 minutes for the doctor, and it was really kind of cute. When I built that particular sequence in the follow-up sequence, I said, if you have a patient that actually engages the virtual consult and sends the picture, and obviously my daughter did do it, this is actually real. Her favorite teacher a year ago was Miss Hartman, her drawing teacher, her art teacher. And in the sequence it said, send me their email address. And I said to the treatment coordinator, now you follow up with them.
Mhm.
And that's a new lead, because these teachers in your community, they see students that smile like this. They won't open their mouth because their teeth are crooked. So now you have an opportunity to engage that teacher into possible referrals. So they just loved it. And then so the other pictures, instead of pictures of their mouth, their uppers, their lowers, a picture of their smile, instead it was so give me a picture in picture number 4 of something that you like doing while you're at home. And my daughter picked up the ukulele a year ago, and this is where she gets her vitamins. And the 6th picture was a skill that you've learned while you've been home, and she learned how to do the Rubik's Cube. But the point here is the virtual consult engine is very powerful. You can rotate the pictures. They come into the engine of Ava. So once they submit the virtual consult on their cell phone or tablet, you own them. You have Ava right there to put them into an auto or a set or remind sequence. You have the very powerful communication portal of Ava. I'll show you this because this is at the heart of Ava, where you can send them MMS text messages or an email, or create a note for a phone call reminder later on,
Mhm.
and be in constant communication. In fact, the last email or text message I sent to my daughter in the other room at this time, I said, hey, Judith, hop on this link and let's get that right side crooked tooth looked at. And I sent her my Zoom meeting link on the cell phone. She clicked on it and we did a little telemedicine visit.
Nice.
So Ava is very powerful. This actually is the communication portal that is behind everywhere in Ava where you can communicate with a patient. You have that option to go in the communication portal, and Ava tracks all of your communication. And so that's the virtual consult engine. I could take you through each one of these and give you a general overview. I could also, send you that link to the training, but I don't think because they did the update yesterday, I don't know if I have data like in the patient tracker.
Yeah.
There's no data, but this basically will give you all the patients listed. The next 7 days is what we train the office team is the critical time to look at it, so that they can see that they've received the welcome sequence on a text and email, that their medical forms have come in. And by the way, we are tracking to the correlation between if a patient submits their medical forms online, what is the chance of the show up? And it's bringing no shows from in the 70s to the 99th percentile.
Wow.
When they engage them in submitting their forms online, they show up for the appointment. And orthodontists know when somebody doesn't show, that's an opportunity cost that is huge for their practice. Insurance verification and surveys. I wish I had data, so I can't show you,
Hmm.
But certainly those skills of Ava are fantastic.
And
Any questions that you might have, Keaton?
just that if there's a doctor that's watching this right now or an office manager that's interested in getting started with Ava, they just go to dentma.com and request a demo. Is that their first step?
Oh, it's really simple. In fact, I'll do that for you. I'll go over here and I'll go to Dentma.com. This is exactly what they should do.
Hmm.
Dentma.com. This is our main web portal. This also changes frequently, but the doctor can log in here, or the team member can log in here. If you have a doctor that's logged in, they can click on the doctor link. But at the top right on every screen is a, let me see, I don't know why that's showed up. On the top of every screen, there's a schedule a demo. They click on schedule a demo. They identify with their team a time and date that works for them, and they book it. That comes right into our system and sends them out a Zoom link, and we go live with them.
Love it.
Yeah, very, very, very simple. Great question. Yes, have them schedule a demo on Dentma.com.
Cool. So then the next thing you were going to mention was this done for you new program, correct?
Yeah, the done for you is that all of these things that you see, all these skills, we do a very quick assessment once we link Ava to their office.
Mm-hmm.
We identify what do you want us to do, and we do it.
Okay.
And we make the treatment coordinators rock stars. We do all the follow. We make sure all these patients get down here, that they're followed up with, that they get into that chair, that they get scheduled for braces. We'll engage the virtual consult. There's no need for any training of their team. They continue doing what they do, and we do everything that they would want to do in the background. We manage that.
So walk me through a little bit more how that would look. Let's say I'm a doctor. I reach out to you. I say, okay, I want this done for you option. You're not generating new leads for them, are you? You're just following up with the leads that have already been generated for their practice.
That's correct. And the first is also potentially correct, depending on how they would want. As an example, we're not going to do a media buy for them for a new lead generation, but we can certainly we can have your team do that for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
but once, let's say, so a doctor's got website leads coming in, they've got referrals coming in, they're adding all of these to their practice management software. Ava doesn't really kick in until after somebody no shows or doesn't buy same day start, correct?
Actually, that's not entirely correct. So yeah, if they get new leads coming in, they won't stop what they do. They'll key that into Cloud9 or OrthoTrack or or Dolphin, whatever practice management system they have. They'll key that in. But when you key in a patient into those systems, you give them a treatment status.
Got it.
And based on that treatment status, Ava will get them. So Ava will automatically show what they keyed in yesterday. The next day, Ava will have them in the new leads or have them in the no shows.
I see.
And so that whole process would be managed remotely by our professional team for sure.
Got it. So what would happen? Are there a lot of offices putting in new leads, or is it typically just the no shows and the recall list type people that are getting followed up with?
Probably the biggest category are new leads. When they put that new lead status in, Ava has them, and then Ava will automatically follow up to encourage them to schedule an appointment and get in.
I see.
In that chair.
So you've got that AI is working from the moment they become a new lead to the moment they purchase.
That's correct. And that's all done automatically. And I could show you behind the scenes if you wanted to go into that level of detail. It's really quite captivating.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Well, I'm gonna go into it then. Let's go into settings. I'll leave this screen on the 4 boxes. I'll go into my other screen, and I'll take this one into settings. So again, this is now settings is in blue. So this is where you go in and do setup for everything with Ava. I'll go into Ava's communication. There's these 2 black boxes. Ava's lead up is the powerful appointment reminder system, customizable by appointment type. So let's say Mary has an appointment in 7 days. So 7 days out, you can remind her of her appointment. 4 days out, you can say, hey, Mary, be sure to bring your retainer. Based on the appointment type, she needs to remember to bring a retainer the day before. Hey, can't wait to see you tomorrow. All done automatically. So Ava's follow-up, let me show you this. This is what is very, very powerful. So let's give an anecdote to this, Keaton.
Okay.
While that's loading and my router is trying to decide if it wants to wake up or not.
Yeah.
Let's just say that we had a pending patient moments ago named Beverly Randall, and I just dropped Beverly down by clicking on Beverly. I'll click on Brad here and putting Beverly in an auto sequence. You can do a set and a remind. This is a lot more powerful than I'm making it seem. But let's just say we dropped Beverly Randall in an auto sequence moments ago. Okay, so that's the anecdotal story, and let's go into Ava. And I'll just share a couple of things here while we go over to pending, because that's where Beverly Randall was. So here's your new leads, and you see we have a default new lead sequence. That's that thing that has 8 years of experience using natural language that works. Under no-shows, we have another default sequence. Under recall, there's another default sequence. In fact, I'm going to change this over to the demo location because I want to show you something that should cause the chill to start at the base of the spine and raise the hair on the back of your head, the hackles of your hair, because this is super cool. This is why we grew during COVID when doctors like that one that had 292 observation patients, when he realized that he could create another sequence. This is the sequence that I created for him called COVID-19 for Kids. That's that sequence I built for him in 11 minutes that got him to say, okay, we have to have Ava during COVID. But there's a default sequence. So under pending, there's a default pending sequence. So right out of the box, Ava's ready to go. So I'm going to click on the default pending sequence, and here we go. This is already built for them. So Beverly Randall on day 1 at 11 a.m. is going to get an email with a very purposeful subject line that's non-spammable and a message that says, "Hi, Beverly, thank you for considering ABC Ortho for your orthodontic treatment." All in simple language and ending in the treatment coordinator's signature line or whoever is responsible for that patient. That's another level of fun complexity and power. If Ava or if Mary responds to that at 11:02 after receiving that email, the sequence stops. The card will turn white under here. This means human intervention is needed. And in the communication portal, you'll know exactly where Ava left off so that the human can do what the human needs to do. But if not, then on day 4 at 1 o'clock, there's a text message. "Hi, Beverly, this is Mary from ABC Ortho. Thank you for considering," very simple text message. And built into Ava are 6 weeks of very professional sequences to get that patient in the chair right out of the box.
Nice.
Now, what I want to share with you. Oh, and by the way, out of the box, right out when you hire Ava, if Ava will speak Spanish, so instead of saying, "Hi, thank you for considering," and they're Spanish speakers, she'll say, "Hola, gracias por considerar."
Nice.
So Ava also will know if it's a child and will not send the message to the child, but will send it to the responsible party for that child on record inside their practice management system. So Ava comes with some very powerful skills. And you engage these 4 boxes in the setup by identifying within their practice management system. Ava will read their practice management system and put every one, look at this side on the right side here, every one of their treatment statuses will show up here. So in the setup, we say, okay, if we're in pending, what is the treatment status in your practice management system that would say they're pending? And we engage that. Under the recall, we engage whatever it is under the recall, under no-show. And it could be multiple, like under the no-show. The pending status would be dismissed, exam cancel, or exam no-show. We'll put that patient into that particular status. So all the treatment coordinator needs to deal with is making sure these are empty black boxes. Keaton, an important point to all of your orthodontists. The owners of the practice, generally speaking, it's the orthodontist, right?
Right.
If they look over the shoulder of the team that's using Ava and they see empty black boxes, I call that their peace of mind. That means they can go home and sleep well at night, knowing every patient is being followed up with in a very professional way and no patient is falling through the cracks.
Yes.
So we do that by clicking on the patient, identifying what we want to do. Typically that's an auto sequence or a set sequence or a remind sequence.
Yes.
and we engage it. I'll click on Brad Banner remind. Brad Banner's a no-show, which means he didn't show up to his appointment yesterday. And let's say that Mary, the treatment coordinator, knows Brad, so we click on remind. He went to Disney World. We don't want to send him, emails and text messages while he's in line at Disney World for a month. So we want Ava to remind us when he gets back on the 7th of the next month. So we go into the remind portal, and we simply click on this, click on the next month, click on the 15th when he gets back, click OK, identify who in the office is going to be doing the follow-up, and clicking on submit. And when you do, Brad Banner in blue here will come down here to Brad Banner in blue with a big R next to the name. And on the 15th of the next month, Brad will turn white. You'll go into the communication portal. I'll go into the communication portal of Beverly Randall. We call that messaging. It'll open up the communication portal, and you will see everything that treatment coordinator or that office team member has done from the very beginning of time. If this were Brad Banner and it was the 15th of August, then it would be your reminder that he's home from Disneyland. The reminder note could say, because he missed his appointment, he owes me a Mickey Mouse t-shirt. Be sure to make sure you collect on the goods. That could be your reminder. And then you're right there with Ava to send him a text, real-time MMS texting, which means you can send him an audio file, a video file, hyperlinks.
Nice.
Or you can turn them over to Ava into another auto set or a remind sequence and be done with it.
Got it.
Let Ava do your work, or Ava will remind you to do your work.
Love it.
So thanks for asking powerful questions, and Ava is that powerful. I just get a chill up my spine to think that 9,000 orthodontists might consider watching this video and seeing this. This would be a lot of fun.
That would be, there's no doubt in the value you guys are providing. So I have a couple more questions.
All right.
First one is for a new lead to be added to Ava, it needs to be added to their practice management software, correct?
That's correct. We can, and we have. We just don't open this up for HIPAA reasons. We have had orthodontists that have validated a list that is completely compliant, that they have generated from leads that have come from, running a 5K, a fun run in their neighborhood with people that have opted in. And they say, is there a way that we can actually port those over? And they engage our team to help them out, but we don't advertise that. So generally speaking, it's a process of getting them into their practice management system, and then Ava has them.
Yeah, I love that, because that's one of my biggest things that keeps me up at night about orthodontists, that all this money that's left on the table from website leads, from leads that collect from events or wherever else these leads are from. Let's put it in a system like this. It doesn't matter where you got it. You got their phone number, you got their email, hit them with something, because everybody's just sleeping on the idea that this is essentially free marketing that's so personalized and so effective. Sure, spend on your awareness part of your funnel, the very top. You've got to get people getting more aware of you, but let's really push people down the funnel with this high touch marketing.
So true.
Wherever we can.
Whenever we can, and however we can automate that. Let me tell you, these companies that go to conferences, we go to conferences. By the time the person gets to the next vendor, they get a thank you email from Ava, and that's what happens, that they can get them in. They can key those names in. In fact, an orthodontist ought to tell whoever in the office that's collecting business cards at the fun run, they could immediately have an access point to key them in. And if they do, Ava gets them immediately. And you're right. Those touch points become so important. And it's just, it's lost money. It's leaving money on the table. It's tripping over the dollars to pick up the dimes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, thanks for sharing that, for sure.
Yeah. And then my second question was, so let's say I put these guys into the auto recall sequence. Looks like your daughter Judith is in the auto recall sequence right now. If she responds, is there AI that responds back to her like a human would, or at that point is it always passed over to someone on the team?
Yeah, if she responds, we have it, depending on how to respond. It's kind of a loaded question, but 95% of the time, if she responds, the patient will turn a shade of gray and red. And that's the indication. Plus, there's an alert that'll come on the cell phone of whoever's responsible. Plus, there's an alert that comes up at the top of the screen here Plus, when you log into Ava, you saw that big screen that showed up right here.
Yeah.
That's another view into all of the things that you should be doing and not forgetting to do that day. But probably the biggest one is Sarah Jacobs needs attention because it's a shade of gray and red. You click on it, you go into the communication portal, and Ava will tell you right where you left off.
Got it. Got it.
Which is kind of cool, Keaton, because if they do respond, you don't want the day 4 text message in the pending patients to go out. Ava is genius. She stops all sequences until you say, continue with the sequence, or did you get him in the chair? And if you did, Ava will calculate a win.
That stop on response feature is definitely necessary, especially in today's world where people are getting all sorts of text. I wanted to see as human as possible.
Right. So true.
Yeah. So awesome. Really cool. Tell us about what was it? Case study.
The case study. Right, let me see if I have that open. I do on this right. No, I don't. Let me go over to a new. The professors have put up a website called casestudyortho.org. I just typed in CAS and it came up automatically. I've gone to it a couple times.
Nice.
So if they go to casestudyortho.org, I haven't gone through and engaged this whole thing, but I am responsible for anybody that would sign up. They have told me that they need to have somebody internal because we do engage Ava. Now, again, this is kind of like the done for you, but it's the done for you for one special case. So what they do once that team signs up is that they'll go through and audit the data, and they will send back on the sample case study. They'll send this back to the orthodontist and their team. This is just a sample. So they'll say ABC orthodontist, the predictive model of profitability, and they will analyze 5 different things that is real data inside their database. In fact, this is real.
Nice.
We just put a sample across it. We actually, this is an actual orthodontist where we did this, and it shows how many patients they have inside their system that fit that their predictive criteria. And so the orthodontist will say, okay, we want to do like observation pending, which will have an opportunity of $192,700 associated with it, with a prediction of 45% close rate, which could bring them in over $86,000. This is what they are trying to drive the predictive model. What they're bringing credibility to is in their predictive model. So they'll say, we want to engage the observation pending. They do all the work. They do that with us. So we're following everything, building the sequences and following. It's like getting Ava for $200 money back guarantee to engage the case study. And then at the end of that, they're what's the word that I'm not using? I'm not getting credibility, but there's a word that they use academically that makes them make sure their algorithms are absolutely accurate. So they get to do one of these when they do at the end of how much they realize at the end of 60 days, and the thing can go on going. But we're betting that they're going to want to keep Ava, and that's actually not a bet. There's a number of practices that are in the system already, and they're saying, okay, we did nothing. We gave you $200 off of the professor's thing.
Yeah,
we got it, and now we're seeing. I think the average is about $15,000 of revenue in the first 30 days of running it. But that's all they do. We engage Ava, and this is the case study. There's other things that will happen inside the case study. It says for the 60-day case study period, each practice will choose one of the 5 treatment statuses to test. We run that test over the course of 60 days, and then they get their data, and they have Ava. In that 60 days, interestingly enough, every single one of the practices that are in it currently have said, well, we have Ava, and you talked to our treatment coordinator, we selected one, but can we engage Ava to do like pending patient follow-up? We say, yes, you can. So you say, why don't you go in and your team and either schedule a training session. There's a link on the website, or we give them a link once they get into AVA for free training, scheduled training. We will engage the pending patient, or we'll engage the virtual consult, and you can actually run that as well. They have the system, so we allow them, but that's not the purpose of the case study. The case study is purely academic. And it's for these professors to build a Harvard case study. Should say Harvard, they're building a simulation game for higher education that teaches data analytics, the importance of management. It's across the School of Business subjects, from data analytics to management to marketing principles. That's what this case study will teach.
Love it. Really cool.
Kind of fun.
I think, honestly, I mean, there's a lot you've showed me today that I've loved, but probably my favorite part was when you said that the professor, the professor/orthodontist would be teaching the importance of patient follow-up in schools, because that would be life-changing for a lot of doctors that I know that struggled with that, understanding the importance of that before they were 8 years into their practice, and we clued in like, oh, we have to do follow-up, and follow-up's the key to successful marketing, successful practice. So that's huge, and really cool.
So true.
On the PMOP here, the PMOP.
Keaton, adding on to that, their vision was not orthodontic schools. Their vision was juniors and seniors and master and MBA students. Nice. That are taking marketing classes, organizational behavior classes, data analytic classes, management classes, where the teacher would have the rights to go and get into this case study. But think about this. This case study will teach a student that when they have access into a very large database, that key and central to that is to let the data help in making those decisions.
Of course.
So they saw that the very first time that they could see what we're doing. And what lit them up is when we added about 2 years ago this new blast tool. They said, Bryon, I think you're missing some things here. And they said, are you telling me that you have access into a private database, hundreds of them, that would let us go in and find things that are not so obvious, that are highly academic and very, very profitable? And I said, well, yeah, absolutely. We do this all the time.
Love it.
Kind of fun. Keaton, I've had such a great time with you. It's
super awesome to connect. My last question is, I haven't checked out your website, but do you have pricing listed on your website? And what's pricing like for Dentma?
Yeah, there is pricing on the website, and I kind of show you that they've updated this a little bit. But let's just say I go into the team member, and again, on the top of every screen, it's the standard Web 2.0 website, but on the top of they can say hire AVA at free risk. There's always a call to action to hire AVA. Obviously, we want to get them. So if they click on hire AVA, it'll take them to this little this portal, /hire AVA, and all they do is they go to this AVA 30-day trial. They click on hire AVA. Now, I won't be able to go past this, but this is a full money back guarantee in the first 30 days. And let's say the practice had 5 offices. It's $400, and every office in their practice is $400 for that first 30 days. We engage AVA across their entire practice. In the second month, if they continue with AVA, there is a 50% for each additional office.
Yeah.
But when they hire AVA, it's this simple. They go in and they, in a secured Stripe merchant service, they pay in their credit card and they hit pay. And after they hit pay, there's a screen that identifies an email, a phone number to the key people within their practice that will be managing the onboarding of AVA into the practice management system. Typically, it's the TC or the doctor, him or herself. And we get that information as in the nanosecond that it takes after they submit that. That goes to our onboarding team, and we outreach to schedule the sync process for AVA in their practice management system. Usually that's about a 15-minute process. So really, an orthodontist can pay today and have AVA today.
Love it.
Yeah.
And what about the done for you option that you guys are testing out?
The done for you has to come through you or has to come through me. when they call me, I manage that because we don't want an influx. It's like the first come, first serve. And then I will take them through the merchant services for that done for you, and identify, so like make sure I get everybody that's going to be involved on their side in the equation in it, to identify what they're going to be using and get the sync process done. But that has to come directly through me.
Love it. Sounds good. So if they want to sign up for that done for you, learn more about it, which is literally just paying money for more money.
Right. I love how you said that. Yes. Paying a little money for a lot of money. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
True.
And it's putting a $1 in the marketing machine, and hopefully $2 to $3 to $4 comes out the other end.
Yeah, right. It's not a gamble. We're not pulling down a lever.
Yeah.
No, it's no gamble.
Love it. So they should reach out to you directly, and that's Bryon with an O, with a Y and an O, at dentma.com.
Yeah, BRYON at dentma.com.
Got it. We'll put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, have them put it in the subject line, DFY or done for you. I'm in.
Great.
And then I will reach out to them as fast as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bryon. Great talking today. Awesome product. Awesome to network. We're actually in the same state. I don't usually talk to people in the same state. So.
Right. Hey. Yeah. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure for sure. You have a remarkable team, and I can't wait to continue to do some fun things with you for sure. All right, Keaton.
Appreciate it, Bryon. Talk soon.
Okay, you bet.
Bye.
How's it going, everybody? If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more. This really helps us out, and it helps more orthodontists find content like this that can really help them in their practices. So it means a lot to us if you do that. With all that said, if you're looking to grow your practice this year, please go to OrthoPatients.com, watch our free training, or just sign up for a call with a member of my team, and I promise it will be one of the most valuable things you do this year for your practice. With all that said, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.